moving into the world of penny stonks out here for Rarity collections. So what's going to have the best long-term gains, possibly? You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more. Now we're going to start off over here with Fairy Tale Luna. Now Luna is always such an interesting card because obviously it's a searcher and a bouncer in and itself, and it's always one of those cards that kind of shows up in an extremely rogue strategy out here. But I was looking at some of these pre-sale prices, looking at the quarter century, and I saw a $10 price point, and looking at some of these other prices too on this card, I was like, wow, you know, this card seems like, you know, it could be $15, $20 over time. I mean, just like the pen falling out of my hand here, you can definitely tell that some of these things are going to have long-term pickup values. So I wanted to bring a spotlight to Fairy Tale Luna and go, hey, you know, in terms of the rogue categories that this card tends to belong to, this definitely seems like you're going to be playing some penny stonk game out here and seeing that, you know, hey, maybe the high rarity section could get the chance to do its thing. As more affordability and things kind of comes through and more availability is there, more and more people be inclined to pick these up. Next up is Inspector Border. Oh man. So here's the thing about Border. Border is obviously only used in probably the most degenerate decks in the game. And I know that people are like, well, you know, denial effects typically aren't very fun, but that's fine. You're looking at a card here in terms of its higher rarity slot that can hit a very, very cheap price point once circulation kind of comes through. And, you know, if that ends up being the case, people are going to come back to this later on a couple years down the line and go, hey, you know, Border's still a good card. So once again, in the same category as Fairy Tale Luna here, if you're looking at long-term value in terms of penny stonks, I think Inspector Border is going to be one of those cards. It checks the marks for an extremely good floodgate. It definitely has no reason to get banned anytime soon. And I do think that you are going to want to keep an eye on this because the card is really just that good overall. All right, and then, of course, Sphere Mode. Now, somebody's going to be like, Robbie, you put Lava Golem on the top pickups. Why Sphere Mode back here? So, between Sphere Modes and Lava Golem, I think these are all excellent penny stonks. People are always going to, depending on how the format shapes up, you're always going to need these cards to board break oppressive situations. And that's why they're always going to be kind of in the penny stonk department, because when a format is that bad that you have to call up Sphere Mode on the phone and go, hey, you know, get your butt out here, we got to tribute 3 opponents' monsters, it's going to be just that. Now, obviously, the new higher rarities do kind of bring in some interesting questions of, you know, will some of these give out? I mean, if you're looking at $1.50 Sphere Modes on release, I know many people are going to go in on those for the lower rarities just to have. So, once again, penny stonk department alert here. Depending on what the potential is for this in terms of circulation, going to be a very, very solid pickup. And then, of course, we have Dark Ruler No More. Now, this is an interesting situation because we have so many Dark Ruler No More printings now. We just got the Lost Arts in terms of release. And I was sitting here, I was like, you know, honestly, if these are hitting 50 cents to, you know, $1, maybe it wouldn't be a terrible thing to want to scoop up some of these, because depending on, once again, how the metagame shapes up and things like this, you know, having one of these cards to board break the opponent, depending on the situation, seems like it's going to be relatively important. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to know, though, how we are going to see the low rarities on Dark Rulers kind of circulate into the market and how much of these are going to be available to really decide on, you know, is this going to be the year or 2 year pickup, or, you know, are we just going to kind of cruise control through on this? But one of those metagame contenders out here for inevitability, for sure. All right, and then we have Harpys Featherstorm. Let's be honest here for a second. You can blame the gosh darn Flaunderies players for this card even making the list. A generic, just stupid floodgate that says, nope, your opponent can't actually do anything. Yep. And then, hey, you know what? You can search for Harpys Feather Duster. This should technically put the card into the massive circulation zone, which should bump down the price a lot. But if you're looking at these and you're like, you know, quarter centuries could hit $10. That'd be the point that I'd probably pick up a playset of these just to actually have in terms of higher rarity. Yeah, I know that not everybody's going to want to play the birds. You know, I understand that Flaunderies is a terrible, boring deck. But, once again, you're playing that game out here where, circulation takes hold, and then they bottom out to the point that people look at them and they're like, wow, these are kind of enticing. I kind of want to pick these up. All right, what else we got going on back? Oh, Egyptian God Slime. This is the penny stonk card. Casual duelists are going to want this card. This card was holding the $50 price point for most of its life. Not because competitive players wanted it. No. This was because casual players out here saw Egyptian god support, and they literally lost their minds. Also, I mean, to be fair, you have some pretty cool Ice Jade support with this as well. Being able to make this with a level 10 Aqua with 0 attack. Yeah, I guarantee you that some of the super rares in this set are going to hit extremely low price points. And I'm going to be checking this card a lot, because you are going to see this thing hit massive circulation numbers, and then people are going to be like, oh, why is Egyptian God Slime disappearing over, a year or two? I think this will be the only reprint for this, and it definitely does check the marks for a card that has infinite potential, especially all of its different rarities. And then, of course, we have Dimension Shifter. Honestly, this could have fallen into the pickups, and I was kind of debating on putting it in the pickups, but I honestly think that this card has infinite potential kind of in the higher rarity categories as well. Yeah, Dimension Shifter's kind of fallen back into the side deck slots, maybe making it not such a hot commodity right now, but you got to think about it like this. Once the card hits circulation and numbers do kind of process through, and we do see these kind of start to give out relatively easily, I think that the higher rarities on shifters are going to get very cheap. All right, if somebody's out here debating on spending, $10, $15 on quarter centuries, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at that. You got to remember, you have a lot of enticing numbers out here that people are going to be like, oh, $10 for a rarity upgrade. That's going to seem a lot better than, maybe spending 5 or 10 on some of the other rarities. So checking this for the quarter centuries for long term. And then, of course, we have Dingrisu, the Orcust Evening Star. Holy moly. This stupid card. Actually, Orcust hype every single set is dumb, and I don't understand it, all right? Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Harpys coming back. Now that we're finally getting a Ding Ding reprint, now I no longer have to listen to people go, wow, did you see the price on those ultimate rares? Yeah, I did. And I know for a fact that people are going to be looking at the quarter century for this and going, hey, wow, that's looking pretty cheap over there, 10, 15 bucks. I'm going to pick up a copy of these. What about the super rares in terms of long term? Well, here's the thing, everybody. Affordability. All right. I honestly do think the super rare might end up checking the marks for long-term penny stonks, just because not only is it for Orcust, but we already know every single time out here that you look at this card and you're like, oh boy, Orcust type, every single ban list. Give it 6 or 7 ban lists from now, you'll be looking at this card with no former reprints, and you'll be like, oh, okay, sure. Next up is the Eldritch the Golden Lord alternate art. Now, this is a banger for me. This is what I was honestly super happy about. First of all, gold rares for the alt arts was an absolute mistake on Konami's behalf. That was one of the worst things that the company could have actually done. But they did one redeeming thing this set. They dropped the Golden Lord in here with its other art, and they said, hey, we can pick these up. I honestly think that the alternate arts for this are going to hit extremely low numbers, and I'm going to be there to pick up some of these, because I think these are cool. Now, obviously, it's an alt art. You are competing with the other version, but in terms of penny stonks, I mean, hey man, this is a $5 quarter century. People are going to be picking up their playset just to have it, just because it looks that good at the end of the day. So we'll have to wait and see. I have very high hopes for the Golden Lord. Actually, I have very high hopes for the alt arts in this set. And speaking of Nightmare Unicorn alt art, thank you, Konami. It's not an IP alt art. It's nothing too crazy for that, but the fact that they did drop the Nightmare Unicorn alt art in here is so nice. This is one of the things that a lot of people were genuinely happy about with this, and I think that overall this card's going to bottom out very quickly. Obviously, you are competing with SP Little Knight in the current meta, which kind of takes a lot of eyes off of Nightmare Unicorn, but the card looks gorgeous. All right, like the art scheme is just amazing. I love everything that this card has going for it. And I'm putting it on the top of the penny stonk checkbox here, just because people are going to want this. All right, so those are our top penny stock potential watch list out of the set. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.